As I have said previously and must reiterate, Dungeons and Dragons was one of my favorite cartoons when I was a child. It was just fun and interesting, and really, I mean, the characters were just really cool and really great to enjoy every Saturday morning. When the Dungeons and Dragons line was announced by Hasbro, I went nuts because I was like, after 40 years, we're finally getting the action figure line we want, until they screwed it up. Um, Overpriced, way, way off from the characters, but at the same time, it's like I felt obligated, and I made myself buy the figures. Thank God for Ollie's and sales at Target, because I did not pay retail for a single figure. At the same time, um, there's some regrets, but I will say Presto is not one of them. So Presto's likeness is not too far off from the cartoon. It isn't exact. So the glasses are not quite where they should be on his face. Kind of down when he's kind of looking over glasses. That's not what Presto did. He looked through his glasses because he needed his glasses. He was the Velma of Dungeons and Dragons, except he didn't lose his glasses every episode. I think he lost them in one episode, and it was a Velma moment where he's like, "Where's my glasses?" Um, Ironically, Presto is the one that comes with the most accessories. When I reviewed Eric, I didn't mention that he came with a D8, D10. I presume because that's a die that um, fighters use for their hit points, maybe. But also, Presto comes with a D4. Again, the die that wizards use for their hit points. Yes, wizards have a lower hit die. That's why they stand in the back and cast spells. Presto has his magical hat. He has these interesting spell effects that comes out of the hat and looks kind of like smoke and blah blah blah. He also has this one that's just a little translucent glimmer in the hat, and then he has this swappable hairpiece. It took me a bit to figure out what the sim is on the end of the hairpiece. Oh, it's for the hat to sit on the hairpiece. So it can sit on his head. That's where it sat before. I think Presto may have the most accessories of anyone in this line. Now, the paint is pretty good. Now, it's really funny because the photo has the wrong paint on the figure, but the figure has the right paint. So figure that out. I mean, it's weird. It's the blue that he usually wore in the cartoon versus another green color. I don't understand why the color on the promo pic is different, but we'll get beyond that somehow, some way. Anyhow, yeah. But Presto is always an interesting character. I mean, he tried to do his magic, and it would always have a mistake, but usually the mistake worked out. Yeah, that was always the funny part. And it was a really cool, creative way to kind of MacGuffin things. It was like, you're trying to do a heavy duty spell and you get flowers, but oh, guess what? The bad guy's allergic to flowers, so haha! I always thought that was funny. Uh, Now, of course, I've talked about the scale, and I still remind you that the scale is wrong. These are not 6-inch figures, even though they are advertised as being such. They're trying to pass them off as kids. It's really a 5-inch scale line because the kids were not as short as everything they say. And you just gotta watch a cartoon and you figure that out. But, Presto is kind of a cool one. Which is kind of weird because he was the nerdy kid. But then again, I mean, sometimes the nerdy kids can be cool. His articulation is hindered by his robe. The best comparison I have is the Indiana Jones line with Sala. He has the same problem. The robe just gets in the way. But you can put him in some pose. I mean, he's not impossible to pose. But you're not going to get as dynamic posing as anything. I mean, limited articulation adds to it too. But I mean, again, one other thing is that this is a unique sculpt. I mean, all of these are unique sculpts. There's no repeat in any of these sculpts. That's kind of cool. At least you have that. I mean, again, oh, I'm such a fan of this cartoon. At the same time, these figures do let you down. Presto is, you know, at this point, Bobby, Presto are the best of the bunch. There's one more to go. We'll talk about her in a moment. But, you know, honestly, these figures are so hit and miss. It's really hard to really say one way or the other. I mean, it comes down to, I mean, you can't buy one and not buy the rest because they're a group. They are an ensemble. And it's just a damn shame they couldn't hit the mark or at least get close with all of these. Presto is close. I'll give you that. Presto is really close to the mark. He's not quite there, but he does a lot better than a lot of the figures in the line. So there we go. That's wrapping up my thoughts on Dungeons and Dragons. Cartoon Presto. Don't forget to cast a spell, guys, and take care. That's a terrible thing. We'll work on it.